All right, everybody, welcome into Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin. I'll be the big spoon.
Poop pudding. So,
Foot Puddin.
another day. You gonna do the disclaimer thingamajigger?
Yeah, the primary purpose of this podcast is to educate, share our thoughts and opinions. When we have proof and evidence on the topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or any comments or actions based on the material we talk about on our podcast. This podcast is for private and non commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at realtalkwithspoonandpuddin at gmail.com.
Hmm. So, what was your? You only had one thread with the city attorney, huh?
Yeah, he didn't reply to, but only one of
Mm.
one of
I
mine.
I gave him replies, and then but it seems to me like when they sit there, like, didn't they tell you some files weren't available because they were done by another branch of government?
Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to escape that one, honestly. That just seems like they have a copy of it.
well, of course. It's the same thing when they try to tell you that the alderman and the mayor doesn't have a file.
Yeah,
So what happens to the stuff that needs to go in the file?
I don't know.
They just shred it and it goes away.
We hope not. I mean, uh, it'll be interesting to see what happens out of this. Um, you're still on for the first, right?
Oh, I'm going up there Monday.
Oh Lord.
Only one of hang on.
Oh, there you go again.
Oh, I don't know what you think, but I think we need to go up there and to the city court and file a.
It seems to me like when they sit there, like, didn't they tell you some files weren't available because they were done by another branch of government?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know how they're going to escape that one, honestly. What is that?
All right, I think I got it turned off now. I had it turned off before. I don't know what happens to it.
Oh boy. But
I think we need to go up there Monday myself
um,
and file a motion in the city court. Uh, may not go anywhere, but at least we've started there and we can move forward from after that because there's at least two or three that are in violation of the TPRA just on request. Not
the it seems to be like the TPRA doesn't have any teeth.
it no just same with the comptrollers don't seem like they got very much teeth either.
No, I mean, like I like I stated to the lady on the phone, I'm like, if the mayor was to slap a secretary's ass, where would the write up go, or where would it be documented?
It, well, it's supposed to go in the file.
Well, what I was kind of curious about. If an alderman did something wrong, like maybe a lewd comment, or well, we buddy, with the he doesn't have a. So basically, Dillard doesn't have a file where all this leaked footage is going.
Well, I mean, your city's telling you no, it don't.
Well, that's your city. It's not. Mm. I'm on the outskirts. Well, what was your thing about? You heard about Gallatin?
Well, well, people want to say there's no politics or corruption in local government like these small cities. But last week, there was a fellow that announced he was going to run for city council, and I guess he got his paperwork picked up and get his signatures. And the same day, maybe it's the same day he turned in his paperwork with his signatures, or he picked
Mm-hmm.
them up. The city council called a meeting, and they voted to move the boundaries and property lines so he was outside the city limits, so he couldn't be on the city council. and now they're in some doo doo, big doo doo. And so for all you people that think that there's not corruption in the local government, yeah, there is. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read this from the part-time city attorney, so maybe the people will understand what we're talking about here. We've been doing records, open records requests. I've been doing them a little bit longer. The first few I got kind of not too long of a wait, not that big a issue. Some of the things were missing, but still got some of the stuff that I requested. And ever since then, the city's kind of stonewalled me. And now Puddin, he's been putting in his requests, and they've doing the same thing to him. I requested some officer files back April 28th. Today was, we said, it's June 26th. Still haven't gotten them. They told me the estimated day of delivery would be July 22nd. I guess we'll see when July 22nd comes.
No, they don't. I'll get to it in a second.
All right. Well, here's the email I got on Wednesday, June 2nd from the part-time city attorney of Portland, John Bradley. You have recently requested a copy of personnel file of Jamie Weekly. If y'all don't know who that is, that's the animal control officer. After necessary redactions, your copy should be available for pickup after June 28, 2022. The documents requested are not kept in electronic format. There will be an invoice for the copies, which must be paid at the time for pickup. Contact City Recorder Patricia King to make arrangements for pickup. Thank you. Now, I'm reading you this because he's telling me all this jargon and then telling me to contact the City Recorder, who I've been in contact with by email. And I got no response in person, and at start the communication was pretty good, but since he sent me that email, I've sent emails to the City Recorder, I've made phone calls, I've left voice messages, to no response. What I'm getting at with this is, I think and I feel that the mayor and the council and the City Recorder has thrown their lapdog attorney at us, trying to scare us, which it's not going to work. So here's what was my response to him. Kind of half smart ass jargon, which, I mean, you get what you get. I said, why are you, as the city attorney, communicating this to me? The city is already in direct violation of the TPRA numerous times. This is business day 9, and the city only has 7 days to respond, Mr. Attorney. Is this an attempt at a scare tactic? Do I need to use my attorney for correspondence in the future? Last time I checked, the city did not have a fee to receive a record or a file. So where do you pull this from? And they do if you request copies, but everything that I've ever requested has been electronic. And to this point, I've gotten everything electronic, with nothing being said. But he's trying to say that what's not kept digital. But as Puddin pointed out the other day when we were talking, I done an audit. I think
I'm ready to show the email if you want to see it.
All right. I done an audit in, I think it was sometime in 2020 of the Portland City Hall, and it was about the time they were getting ready to finish the.
That's your audit video in the email that I gave back to him. Your First Amendment audit goes terribly right.
Yeah. So the mayor gave me a tour and talked. I think that was over an hour long, was it not?
It was 30-something minutes.
No, it's 2 different sections.
There's a 5-minute section and a 33-minute.
Oh, okay. So 30-something minutes, and in that uh, video, he bragged about this new. I think he said 5 million, didn't he? But it ended up
Right.
being 7.
I thought he said $5 or $6 million city hall, and then
Yeah, but it
I
ended up
think
being
Dillard said it'd be like 8-9 million. It
yeah,
went
it
over
ended up
budget.
yeah, it ended up being like $8 million renovation of City Hall. But the mayor bragged in this video when I done this, when he gave me the tour of all the great things they done in technology, and they were going to be able to digitize every file and every document they had. And up until this point, everything that I've requested, I've got in electronic format, because if it's not, all you got to do is scan it in. Simple, right? But now the city attorney is claiming, no, we don't have this in digital format. Okay, you spent $8+ million on the renovation of City Hall, and your mayor clamored about,
Brags. He brags
huh?
about. He brags about digitizing records.
Oh yeah, but now
But
you're gonna
you're
your
lying.
dog your lapdog attorney is gonna say, oh, we don't have those in digital format. Well,
So when we send in a request, expedite what we're requesting, digitize it, send it to us, put it away. That's the way I'm looking at it. Don't that was why I replied to him and sent a link to the video where the mayor is bragging about digitizing all records.
right.
But
So
you
I'm gonna,
keep stating that, what was his official comment back to me was, as I previously explained to you, the city personnel records are not maintained electronically. You need to schedule a time for inspection or request copies. But the form, not on the form. Form's got a electronic. That's what I said. So, John Bradley, yeah. I hope you read that email. I hope you go through Mister Spoon's video and watch it, and watch the mayor brag about the records we request being sent electronically, uh, so you can see for yourself that, you know if they're not kept electronically, make them electronic. That's part of what you bragged about doing with all that taxpayer money.
right. And if I request a file, or you request a file, or anybody, and it's not digitized, there's your opportunity to make sure that file's
Perfect,
digitized.
perfect opportunity.
And but even with that, because me and you talked about this before, he sent us emails. I told you, we could show up and just inspect, and they have to show them to us right there. The only thing they have to give them time to for is officer files to redact the information. Anything else we can show up on the spot and say I want to inspect that, and we're able to take pictures and make copies. And as you stated to me in your email, you even told them, "Hey, we'll show up at such date. We'll bring our own copier and
Paper ink.
and ink and paper, and it won't
Well,
cost the
I
city
mean,
anything."
the one file I got from Sumner County, which was within 2 weeks, which was very speedy. Uh, I
It
would
was
say
it. It was
it was.
within 10 days total. That's holidays, weekend,
I
everything.
think so, something like that. But I
Yeah,
mean, the one file I did get, it was like, most of it I didn't even want, like, job application. No, I don't want that. Why do you? So you want me to pay for job applications, and you haven't clearly defined how much a copy costs? You know,
we know it's being the city. It's probably going to be a quarter a page or $1 a page. It's going to be something
well,
ridiculous.
it'd be something stupid, but with the city, it'd be something stupid, and they'd be like, "Well, let's just take this application and let's do top half, bottom half. Let's charge them, double charge them.
Yeah,
Like, so we can hurt you. You know." Which is why it's just better to go in and look. But yeah, no. If you're digitizing and you're bragging about it, and that's part of the spending, then go ahead and expedite once we've requested records. It's a perfect opportunity to put them in the computer.
So what we're getting at here is we've done everything. Uh,
Followed all the rules as they're supposedly played forth, and
yes, and
they're
and even after the emails from the part-time city attorney, Mr. Bradley, who I think he's trying to use a scare tactic. Ooh, I'm scared.
fully scared. That's
Uh,
what
you
they're.
know,
I don't get
attorney
paid by the city to do this. It's pro bono.
attorneys attorneys are dime a dozen. I mean, just look them up. Uh,
Oh, you don't want to get too many spam bops popping up on your computer. Hey, hire me.
uh, but even after all the hoopla and the hoops we've jumped through and the time waiting and the excuses, because one of the requests I requested, I got a response of this investigation was done by the state of Tennessee Training Commission. And my response was, I don't give a shit if it was done by the Pope. That's not what I requested. I requested, why was there an investigation? What was the outcome of the investigation? And what was the disciplinary handed down to all officers involved? And the response I get is, it was done by the state of Tennessee Training Commission. It doesn't matter who it was done by. All that still goes in the officer files, right?
Should.
It does.
And again, that's why the TPRA lady said we need to take it to the court, file for a suit in court. So
that's why I said Monday morning we need to be up there at city court.
If you feel like it Monday morning, that's fine. I mean,
I'm going to be up there.
Okay. Well, I was wanting to go Friday.
Well, yeah, Friday's fine too, but I want to go ahead and go up there Monday. Go ahead and file.
Yeah.
We can still do our thing Friday with the city.
Well, it seems like they're completely in violation. They don't want to hand it out.
Well, I got 2 or 3 violations on them from me to them just by me sending them requests and them not responding in the 7 days. They responded on the 8th day or the 9th day or the 10th or 11th day, but the TPRA clearly states in a timely manner. I'm tired. I've worked all night. In a timely manner, but at least respond within 7 days with the estimated time of delivery. And they're not doing that.
No.
And 3 months of estimated time of delivery is not satisfactory. I don't care who you are. If I requested the whole police department, everybody's file there, and they told me 3 months, okay, absolutely. Even if they told me 4 months, I get it. But just a handful of files, and it's going to take you 3 months to get those ready for a citizen. And after they redact everything and white everything out, you're not going to get anything that you asked for.
Yeah, I guess we'll just go up there and see what they say.
The CAD sheet that I requested on that Daughtry stop, because they didn't do a report when she got rescued by the off-duty officer, they sent me 2 out of the 3 pages, and everything was whited out. The commentary between the officer and the operator, which is public information, they whited all that out.
Well, I guess you need to go. I guess you should file a suit for that too.
I'm going to.
Unredacted. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's too bad somebody out there didn't have a scanner recording. Because I'm sure you could get on the Portland PD scanner.
And if I remember, let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure they redacted her address and stuff. Yeah. I got it right here. It's page 1 of 3 and page 2 of 3. And all the queries from CD Carter to the officer is all whited out. And it shows Mrs. Daughtry's name and her corrective lenses and her age and her height and what color she is. But then when it gets to her address, it's whited out, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at, these police scanners, some are pretty expensive, but some aren't.
And then you get to where her license plate and stuff is, and that's whited out. All that is public knowledge, right?
Yeah. You're allowed to buy police scanners and listen to police.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about somebody's license plate. Do we cover our license plates going up down the road?
Are we allowed to?
No.
Why not?
when you go under one of those street cameras or light cameras, what's it doing? It's taking a picture, right? It's scanning you. So all that is public knowledge. Not that I wanted that, but it's the point that they took the sheet and they whited out all the information. Look, I'm going to show you this to see if you can see this. Can you see this, Puddin?
Mm-hmm.
See all this whited out information over here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong side right here. All that's supposed to be the correspondence between the operator and the officer. And they whited it all out. Why? That's public information. All 911 calls, public information.
Well, they'll use it against you in court, you know.
Absolutely, they will.
If you anything bad happens and you said something on 911 that was incriminating, they're going to use it against you. They'll find it then.
And I find it awful convenient that at the end of page 2 of 3, because I didn't get page 3, it says PD 729 to PD 727. That's CD Carter is, I guess, the 911 or the not the 911 operator, but the operator for the officer. From CD Carter to PD 727, I'm conducting a field sobriety test. And that was the end that I got. Page 3, not there. You know, the outcome of the field sobriety test or anything else that happened. No, gone. And y'all ask, why did I request the CAD sheet? Because they didn't do their job and they didn't file a report and she didn't go to jail and they tried to wipe the slate clean. But any time that happens, there's still what they call a CAD sheet. It's a incident detail report that they have to do because they're communicating back and forth with their operator and having them run the license. So there's always a CAD sheet on every stop, whether there's incident report or a arrest report or a ticket or whatever. If you get pulled over for a warning today because you're not wearing your seatbelt or you got a light out, there's going to be a CAD report. So any citizen can go, so-and-so got pulled over on 109 out in front of Domino's at such and such. And they can go in and request why you were pulled over. If there's no charges brought, then they can request the CAD sheet for that stop. And it's going to tell all the information for that. Well, you say, well, that's not right. May not be right, but it's public knowledge. That's what I said about your license plate. You don't drive around with it covered up. Anybody can take your license plate number and get all the information they want. They can get your address, make and model of your car, which they get that by the look of it with the year. But that's not the information I wanted, right? I wanted the correspondence between the operator and the officer. I didn't want that whited out because it's public knowledge.
Well, they don't want you to see it because they know you're going to talk about it on here, and it might be a little incriminating for Boss Hogg's town.
All right. So PD 727 was Officer Azar, and PD 729 was Officer Craddock. So at 2336, which is 1136 on 822, 727 Officer Azar and 729 Officer Craddock responded and said, Officer Azar is conducting a field sobriety test. That was the end of the CAD report. Well, for me, there's a whole nother page of communication. That's just an example that your city goes above and beyond to cover up and hide stuff from the people.
So, to the next point, I would like to say, when are you going to run for something? Are they going to move your city lines? They're going to put you outside of the city limit?
They might. I wouldn't think so if they did. If they went east, they put all the columns outside the city limit.
West.
Yeah,
they would have to come from the east and bring it west.
Well, I'm saying if they moved the boundary lines from the east to the west, that would pull all the columns outside the city limits.
You could be like that Family Guy where Peter realized his property wasn't in the state of Rhode Island, and he named it Pretoria. He had all like Fidel Castro and all them visiting because he was a exempt zone. He wasn't part of the U.S. It was kind of funny.
What was your email you got from Mr. Bradley and your response?
Oh, just my response was pretty long winded. I mean,
Let's hear what his
just same thing as you on a lot of it. He said these records aren't kept electronically and they'll be available for inspection or copies only. Which I wonder what he's going to do. Or I need to go through that video you did and do a screen recording of it where the mayor is bragging about digitizing records, because that would be really incriminating. Because we've requested records that you say aren't digitized, but you're also bragging about digitizing them. Well, perfect opportunity. Go ahead. Absolutely. Expedite it. What I said in there is if you're digitizing records and we've requested them, expedite the digitization. That was what I put in email format, which again is a legal document. Something for court.
and if they're not digitized at this point, and you spent well over your $5 million, and it was 7, 8, 9 million, like
we've heard.
Yeah,
I guess if we're there, we could also request what was the exact final bill on the city hall.
Well, I requested that. I did request that in my budget that I got, but I didn't find it in there. So that was something that they redacted, I guess.
I don't know. They redacted, or it just wasn't line item.
I didn't find it. I didn't find it on the line item. So maybe they just didn't make sure they didn't put it in there.
Well, I mean, we already know they're 48 million in debt at least. So 48 million in debt at least. Some of that city hall.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to get after you because if you're willing to go be mayor, then you need to run for it.
I'm going Monday to Belvedere to pick up my paperwork to get my signatures to get on the ballot. Okay. At that time, when I get my signatures, I'll decide whether I'm running for council or for mayor. Yes, no, what?
No on the council. Yes on the mayor.
All or nothing, huh?
Yeah, all or nothing.
Well, if I run and I lose, I ain't lost nothing, right?
Doesn't cost nothing to run.
If I run and lose, and the Callis is the only other one running, the city loses.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you'll fire some of these corrupt police officers. They gave you the power. They left you the tool. Then John Bradley will be like, "Hey, that officer's gonna sue the city. I don't care. That's what we pay you for, ain't
it?" There's only a handful of those. We got a lot of. I feel like a lot of good officers too.
Yeah, I didn't say we got bad officers. I said, but you get your escorts home by them, trying to intimidate you.
They ought to know by now. They don't intimidate me.
You go up there and show up at the thing and you speak for 1 minute about Dillard and 3 minutes about something else, and all the paper can report on is you're standing showing support and solidarity with Dillard.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
The way they put it, hell, I walked in there with my burning cross and my my white hood.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. It's what it sounded like. I had to spin it that way.
Well, of course.
Just wait till I show them the pictures of you with a banana. Uh-huh. No, but I don't believe you need money. I think it's a small enough election, small enough town, small enough race. Everyone knows you. Put yourself out here. Who cares about all of it? Well, what would be really so hilarious is if you ran for mayor and Callis and them dumped tons of money in signs and advertising, and they still lost. And you didn't dump anything except for 25 signatures and name on the ballot. And then you come on here and you talk to the people.
Well, he's going to dump a lot of money into signs and stuff. Well, I don't know. He's pretty
Why should he? I mean, he was
self-absorbed and
divine.
arrogant.
Oh, come on, man. He was chosen by God,
Yeah. I want you people to understand this. The mayor was on the council for many years, and he stepped away from the council, and he told the people, God wants me to focus on preaching and leading the flock back to him. And then a few years later, he runs for mayor, and then he gives up preaching and says, well, God wants me to be a full-time mayor. And as a Christian person, I don't think God would tell you, hey, stop preaching to the flock and give up preaching and go be a full-time anything.
I don't recall.
Especially,
I don't recall in Matthew or any of those verses where Jesus went to run for mayor. Do you?
Well, I remember him going and finding his apostles and telling them to give up their life and their career and follow him and be a
minister of sorts, to follow him and not the government.
To be a fisher of men. Like one of the apostles was a fisherman. He says, "No, you come follow me and be a fisher of men, not a fisherman." Right?
Help me spread the propaganda.
Maybe it was Judas that he said, "You follow me part time, and then you become a politician."
Was Judas? I don't know. Has Mike Callis got his 30 pieces of silver?
Got a lot more than that. A lot more than that.
I don't know. Like I said, it's I don't.
As you spoke on the 48 million, here was the end of.
If we go on the first, they should have a new budget available for us to copy.
Yep.
We can ask for
we're
better line items.
We're going to inspect it. Mm-hmm. $41,189,950 as of the end of the fiscal year 2020. This is the budget issued on June 30th, 2021 for the year 2022. No, this was the budget for the year 2021. So at that time, you were already paying loans out to the year.
Did Judas Callis get his raise or something out of all that?
They voted sometime last year that the next mayor was.
Now it's 40 pieces of silver a year, huh?
Yeah. So 2050, and this is a year old. We're making payments to the year 2050 on some, and 2046 on some others.
You haven't even talked about the $6 million that's not in there. They just
no. This is well over.
That's all old. Before that. Yes.
Yes. That don't include the money they borrowed in the last year. They don't include the $6 million they just borrowed. Then the compound interest over that.
Well, like I said, it's one of those. It's just dirty little politics. And like the lady at the TPRA, where I talked to her about the open records at the comptroller, I tried to get her to see my point, and finally I said if a mayor or an alderman groped a woman or said something lewd to a woman, and then she went back and reported it to HR, you're telling me there's not a file where that goes? She said, well, I would hope so. I said, well, yeah, everybody would hope so. I said, you work at Dunkin' Donuts, you have a file, Don't sit here and lie. According to City Portland. Yeah, people who make well more than the people at Dunkin' make, or McDonald's, the mayor's making $60K a year and he don't have a file. What?
Well, like me and you talked about, we work for the same company. We're both drivers. Of course, we do different accounts, but you call that any trucking company up and ask them if every employee has a file.
They do. Well, they do, because if something happened, they want to pull the file and look, is this a good driver, bad driver? If it's a bad driver, I guess we're going to have to hire a more expensive attorney to defend him.
And I was a trucking manager over 3 different companies, right? Mm-hmm. We had the main company was the big one, and we had 2 smaller ones that were LLCs that were at the same location, but run under different names. So I had to have, if all our drivers did work for each company. So I had to have 3 separate driver files, employee files for each driver, for each company. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went through the state of Tennessee audit, the DOT audit, when I went there, I had to have just say you was my driver. I had to have a file for you, employee file for John Wayne LLC and John Cook LLC and John Morgan LLC. I had to have 3. It couldn't be all the same paperwork in 3 files. It had to be paperwork for this company and paperwork for this company and paperwork for this company.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how normal companies and municipalities operate. Everybody has a separate file. And your mayor was an alderman at one point. He sat on the council, so he should have a councilman file. And now he should have a mayor file.
Like I said, we don't have we're not allowed to request his church file. You know. But we are allowed to request his. It would be interesting. I wonder how that would work, honestly.
This leads me to believe that if the leader of your town, the mayor, because that's what he was elected to be, doesn't have a file.
Mr. Spoon, you get elected to mayor, you can just smoke weed and never have to worry about drug tests or anything. Isn't that in a driver's file? Your drug test results. Okay.
Well, apparently in the city, if you're in any kind of authority or work for the city, you can just be part of the big orgy they have going on and drive drunk and do whatever you want to do and don't have to worry about paying the consequences. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is, does the fire chief have a file? Does the police chief have a file? Do the head of all these departments have a file? I mean, what you're telling me right now is the 7 members and the mayor of your town, they don't have a file. Yeah. So if they don't have a file, who else doesn't have a file?
Oh, it's something I couldn't. When the lady at the comptroller said that Tennessee House wasn't going to be in session until January, I was like, "What?
January?"
Yeah, that's what she said. I was like, "January?"
It's June.
I know. So they got over half a year off. What you're telling me?
Their elections are in November.
Oh, maybe that's what it. Well, I mean, what I was telling her is this needs to be addressed. Someone needs to change some things.
So you're telling me on election year that the people that are going out the door or running for re-election from June till January, they do nothing but run a campaign or watch a campaign because they're not running again?
I don't know.
They don't do any work?
Oh, they probably have jobs, That's probably, if that pay salary for William Lamberth is correct, that's probably why it's so low, because they don't hardly work. If his check really is like less than like $30,000 a year from the state, it's probably because, he doesn't have to really show up much.
Yeah.
It's like a part-time gig for him.
Well, if y'all want to hear a little bit more corruption, which I've talked about this many times, that our government needs to be out of our everything, especially our education. You'll have to look it up to get all the facts straight, but you're somebody that's over the Sumner County school system said he was going to step down in May or June of 2023, but he was still going to draw his salary for a set amount of time, and his salary is $200 and something thousand.
I don't know. Well, speaking of that, do you want to shift gears into the Thursday and Friday Supreme Court? Just a little bit. Yeah. I seen this meme the other night. It was hilarious. It said, "Calm down, liberals. No one is coming for your abortions. We just want common sense abortion control. Mandatory background checks, complete with mental health evaluations, must be placed in the National Abortion Registry. $200 tax stamp and a 1 year wait period. Outlaw assault abortions after the first trimester and limit the number you can have. No one needs more than one abortion. It was
The,
kind of like,
the gun
using the
law.
using the
Yeah.
gun stuff against them.
Yeah.
What did did you? What was Latimer's meme? Come on, man, that was hilarious.
I don't remember, but I posted.
I ain't seen Democrats this mad since the Republicans took their slaves away.
That's so wrong.
It's so funny.
I posted this on my Facebook yesterday. It was from the United Space Force memes. It says, "Empire confiscates Luke Skywalker's lightsaber under new red flag law."
Colin Noor tweeted out that he said, "You do realize that all the founders would have been red flag, right?
Yeah.
Every one of them." Friday, Brandon Herrera did an emergency gun meme review because of the New York State losing their little pistol and rifle club. And then there was a scene where he plays the New York governor. So I turned captions on and I screenshotted it while it was playing. And basically, the New York governor saying the only weapons available at the time of the Second Amendment, the only weapons available when the Second Amendment was written at the time were muskets. And then the caption catches her, "I'm prepared to go back to muskets." So I made a meme of her saying it. I said, "New York's governor's security team to transition to muskets." Because you see at the bottom on the caption where she says, "I'm prepared to go back to muskets."
Yeah.
Okay, New York's governor's security team transitions to muskets. All right,
And
let's go.
and let's remind everybody what were muskets back in that day.
The military weapons of the time.
Oh yeah, hey. So when people say people shouldn't have military weapons,
Mm-hmm.
our forefathers were smart enough to know that
weapons change over time.
A buddy of mine shared this, so I shared it too. It was somebody else that posted it. It says, "All I'm saying is our forefathers shot some folks over tea prices."
Well, I mean, there's so much going on. Like, say, I did this meme. This one, I put this one up in Reddit. It got a lot of controversy. It was that Representative McBath.
Oh,
basically, what I said was, I said, "You want
stupid,
50 state red flag, huh? Oh, I can't
That's
stand her. 50 state permitless carry. Here we come." But the reason I use permitless carry, and that caused a lot of controversy in the comment section, because I had a pronoun Nazi in there. He must have dyed his hair blue, and he was kind of woke. And how dare you not call it constitutional carry? And it just went back and forth. I call it permitless carry because of guerrilla warfare. You take the enemy's words and you use them against them. Number one. Number two, if keep and bear arms is your carry license, then you already have it. You didn't need a permit in the first place. So take their permit word and flip it on them and use it against them as permitless carry. But no, that was hilarious what was coming out of the Supreme Court. And there was some pretty funny memes, like one of Clarence Thomas pointing at his head, and it's like, allow people the right to carry before you tell everybody abortion. You overturn Roe v. Wade, being smart.
right. I shared Ice-T's tweet.
Oh yeah.
Me and you can relate to this. It says, "For the record, I am not a Democrat. I am not Republican. So you can miss me with all your left-right talk. Both wings are on the same bird." And we've talked about this many, many times.
Oh yeah.
The Republicans and Democrats have worked tirelessly to destroy our country. And me and my cousin, we communicated back and forth yesterday on one of her posts. She's an atheist or agnostic, like you are. So even though me and her are far apart on the spectrum of religion, we're pretty close on the spectrum of
politics.
everybody. Huh?
On politics.
Well, on everybody should be free to make their own decisions. The pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, and everybody should stay the hell out of everybody else's business.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's yes. I mean, again, like I said, I don't. I didn't vote for Trump in 2020. Don't care to. I couldn't stand the guy. I hope he don't come back. I'm really. Please stay away. Just stay away. DeSantis. Let DeSantis go. I know Florida wants to keep him, but
if the Republic, I'm going to make this statement. If the Republicans would smart, they would take DeSantis. So you're going to get Trump.
Well, I mean, the Supreme Court, and I don't. Last I checked, Clarence Thomas, wrote a lot of these dissents or these opinions on it. The last I checked, I don't believe Trump appointed him. So.
Well, and I'm not meaning that so much of a slight, but the new Senate gun bill that me and you talked about for a few days.
It's passed. It passed Friday.
It passed Friday.
They ran it through. It had 15 rhinos on it. So, again, everyone who sits there says, I got to go vote Republican. Y'all need to wake up. Oh, that was another funny meme. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I shared it to you. Remember the one I shared you with the, vote Satan, vote Antichrist?
Yeah. See, the only difference between the Republicans and Democrats is the Democrats stick together no matter what, right?
Yeah.
You hardly ever see a group of them breaking off. And what happened? 15 Republicans jumped on board this new Senate gun bill,
which
is unconstitutional trash.
The bill the bill was introduced, had nothing to do with guns at all. It was about changing the name of a building in Tallahassee, Florida. Had zip to do with guns, but they took all the language out and threw all this other language in. But that one meme, I had to explain it to my mom. She actually said, "What does that actually mean?" And I had to explain it to her. But it says, "Vote Satan, vote Antichrist," and then there's a guy there, and it says, "Do you really expect me to vote for these guys?" And then Jesus puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, and it says, "Fear not, my child. I am also running." And it's like, "Jesus, is that you?" And he's like, "You bet." And he's like, "Wow, what are you running as?" Third party. And then the newspaper, Antichrist wins landslide victory.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's what y'all, is this, again, vote Satan, which I kind of explained to her. I said, the red, vote Satan, let's call that Trump. The blue, vote Antichrist, let's call that Biden. I said, but, can't vote for a third party, period. You refuse to.
Well, let's think of what was a good person from the past that we could put running as a third party.
Jefferson.
No, not a president. Just an overall good person, like Martin Luther King.
He wouldn't have won.
All right, so put it in layman's terms, the people.
I don't know if Martin Luther King was really all that good, honestly.
Martin Luther King was good, but was he as good and perfect as people think he was? No, but he.
If you brought JFK back today and put him on a third party, he wouldn't win.
No.
But
he wasn't as bad as Malcolm X,
I mean, it doesn't matter. It seems today, if Obama could run on a third party, he might win. He might be a big enough name to win.
I don't think so.
But they would say, "Oh, you're constitutionally invalid. You can't do it." Now, if Trump was to go on a third party, he might win. Because there's enough boobs out there to, TTA, Trump Tart Anonymous,
Well, the whole problem with this, like in the state of Tennessee, to get on the ballot as a Republican or Democrat, you need 25 signatures. To get on as an independent or third party, libertarian, whatever you want to say, you have to have 55,000 signatures of registered voters.
No, it shouldn't be that way.
And every state's different. Some states you got to have 100 or 150,000 signatures to get on the ballot. But just, think of somebody that everybody could say they love. Bob Barker. Can anybody say anything bad about Bob Barker?
I don't know. He sure whooped Happy's ass and
Happy Gilmore.
and
It's the
poor
price is
Adams.
wrong, bitch. But picture this in layman's terms: if you had Adolf Hitler, Stalin, and Bob Barker running as your third party, Bob Barker wouldn't get 5% of the vote. Stalin or Hitler would be your president.
The way the machine's set up, they don't want them to. The machine doesn't want you to realize that you don't have to have just a hamburger or a chicken sandwich. They don't want you to realize there's tacos out there. Hey, who doesn't love tacos?
And there were so many people I've heard complaining about this Roe versus Wade, and seen so many posts, and a lot of women are aggravated. And personally, I can't see why either side is really aggravated with what the outcome, because all it did was turn it over to the states. And if you don't like what your state does, you cross the state line and you do it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the government had voted the other way and said, no, we're gonna make it illegal across the whole country, then what? Right? You got one side that won, the other side that lost, which there's a win-lose here. I don't know how there's a win and lose, because if you're killing babies, I don't think that's a win.
Again, it goes right back into that big argument, and we had this weeks ago where we talked about it. The first trimester, which I know that's the majority of all abortions, things like that. But the later stuff,
Right.
I don't. Again, it just comes down to a calculation.
But what I'm getting at, that I think everybody has the freedom of their pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, right? Or life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. To each his own. It's none of my business what the next person chooses, and that's the way it should be. But my point is these people keep voting in these Republicans and Democrats, and then they want to raise hell and bitch about the outcome. What did you expect was going to happen? They have been stripping our rights away for how long now? Let's go back 150 years.
That's about when a lot of this got started, actually.
Right. In the last 150 years, you tell me something good that this two-party duopoly, the Republicans and Democrats, has done to better our country.
There hasn't been a president in office that wasn't a Republican or a Democrat since Zachary Taylor, and that was like 1850s. So,
what number president was he?
I have to look it up.
19
before Lincoln. He was. I don't
before
know.
Lincoln.
Before Lincoln.
Lincoln was 16.
Lincoln was 16, so he was 14 or something. He died in office. So I don't know.
Well, supposedly Lincoln was a third party, but he was not. He was Republican.
No, Lincoln was absolutely a Republican. 12th. He was the 12th president.
Zachary Taylor was 12th. All right. So in the last 150 years, anybody that's listening or will watch this podcast later,
13 to 46 have all been Republican or Democrat, period. That's all there is.
But personally, I think John F. Kennedy was the last good president we had.
I think Reagan was good until they shot his ass.
Well, I mean,
I think he came in and he thought he was gonna, turn the ship around, and then they shot him, and probably some real nasty dark figure met him in the hospital, and they said, "You gonna start doing what we say, or is the next bullet gonna finish the job?"
Yeah, probably so. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. In the last 150 years, what has the Republicans and Democrats done for the betterment of this country?
Not a lot.
Huh?
Spend a lot of money. Spend a bunch of money and throw your inflation through the roof. But I've been speaking about that since 2008 when they crunk on the presses and started giving trillions to Wall Street. I was like,
They,
oh,
you
this
know,
is bad.
they allowed the Federal Reserve, which is one of the biggest bugaboos in American history.
It's not federal and it's not reserves. I mean, they
Huh?
just make it. It's not federal and it's not reserves. It's a private bank.
Yeah.
More and more people are actually talking about it these days, and it's kind of makes me smile when you hear people talk about the Rothschilds and the talk about give me control of a country's money and I care not who makes the law. I mean, that was the family saying, we want the printing press, and once we get the printing press, then we don't care.
I think the main thing that irritates me as most is how stupid the people in this country are. We have a small percentage of people that are intelligent and do research and can think for themselves. We have another small percentage that could do that but choose not to, and we have a big majority that are just stupid as stupid can get. And then you have your section of people that all they care about is what they care about. They don't care about what's going on. They're wearing their Nikes and they're drinking their Starbucks and all that. Talking on their iPhone, watching their iPad. Long as they can get what they want, they don't give a shit about nothing else, whether it affects you or me. And they'll gladly give over your rights because they don't care about theirs.
Well, they'll give over your rights because it doesn't affect them at the moment. That's the thing. These people that say, "Hey, we got to do something. Do something." Well, how about fire the entire police force or lock them up and go and arrest them for not going into that school?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the more that comes out on that, the more concerning that is.
Well, they did put the they did put the chief on administrative leave, but all that means is he's paid with time off. That's all that means.
The door was unlocked from what they said. Remember how they were supposedly waiting for a key?
Yeah.
The door was unlocked, and they're like, before you went and spent 20 minutes looking for a key, why didn't somebody go up and jiggle the handle?
Well, the off-duty father who was a border patrol agent, he didn't have no problem getting into school, did he?
Now that was Crowder talked about that this week a little bit. That the mother or the one of the teachers that died. Did you see that? Or one of the police officers, that was his wife, and when she called him and told him she had been shot, he went to try to run into the room to try to attempt to save her, and they took his gun away and put him in cuffs because they told him he wasn't allowed to break their orders.
Right.
So, and it seems interesting because basically what Crowder had said, and I mean, there's already Guns and Gadgets has already said this, talking about if you stop someone from performing the Heimlich maneuver on somebody, you could be liable. And we already know that they were stopping people from trying to go in there.
Yeah, they were putting
the police. No, the police weren't doing anything, so they were stopping people from going in there.
Yeah, they were putting the parents in cuffs and detaining them to keep them from going into school.
Yeah, but now you have a police officer whose wife is shot and dying, and they said they don't know if she was the one that died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, or if she was the one that died on the scene. But
what does it matter? What does it matter?
Well, I know it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is now you have an officer who's been arrested, who's trying to go save his wife. At this point, could you charge the officer to put him in cuffs with, accessory to murder?
I mean, yeah, I would in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, no, it was an interesting concept Crowder pushed, but I mean, still, I think the whole Uvalde police force, at this point, the ones who didn't act are the ones who, the guy that got arrested because he was going to act because he said, "Forget my chief, I don't care. My wife shot. I'm going to get her."
Yep.
Not him. He don't need no torture, but the rest of them, yeah, I think you all are obstructionists, and I think you should all go to jail.
Well, as we've stated before,
but instead, we got Senate Bill 2938 coming down the pike to take away your gun rights.
Yeah, take away our gun rights.
Yeah, take away the people's gun rights. The people, Mr. Spoon, if a Portland PD seen you outside of the school in Portland and there was a shooting going on, and a Portland PD handed you an AR, you'd find out how to use it to go
Oh
get
yeah,
your kids.
exactly.
No, you don't. You want a bulletproof vest? It won't fit me anyway. Screw y'all. I'm Big Spoon.
Yeah. But with all that being said, in every Supreme Court ruling,
Police are not required at all to put their life in jeopardy to save yours.
or to protect you against yourself.
Hmm.
So when they ride around in their police cars that say serve and protect on the side, they're lying to you. They're
Well,
not here to serve and protect.
it's a good catchphrase.
What?
Makes people feel,
Warm
happy
and
that
fuzzy inside?
yeah. Well, they know their tax dollars is going for something good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the cop that writes the most tickets gets the newest police car. That's what their tax dollars are going for. The
So,
biggest extorter.
so with what you were saying about what Crowder was talking about,
No,
uh,
think about it though. You've got a woman
but
who's a teacher who's shot, husband cop who's trying to go rescue her. They take his gun away and put him in cuffs
what
because
I'm
he was
saying
breaking
is,
orders.
in every instance and every ruling, the Supreme Court has ruled that the police are not liable and not
Required
responsible, or yet not required to protect you against someone
active
else
shooter.
or yourself.
Hmm.
So in that case, would they rule with the police officer who kept the one from going inside, or would they rule with the one that was trying to go inside? That would be an interesting case. I would like to see that in front of the Supreme Court to see what the ruling would be.
I would say that maybe they need to what's that called? A grand jury indict the guy that you know. Be nice if Texas would pull a grand jury up against the guy because now could you indict the officer for accessory to murder?
And don't forget, in 2018, remember I told you you had the two middle school kids that were 14
Hmm.
that were texting and trying to create bombs because they were going to blow up the middle school.
Yeah, no, that
I'm,
was
I'm
yeah. I said
that was in Uvalde, Texas. It, it
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 was
would be awful ironic if one of the boys
it
of
would be
that,
ironic if one of the boys and the three boys involved in that incident
yeah,
was this guy. But even if it wasn't, that doesn't mean that this guy didn't know them three and didn't know
no,
of the plan. He just slipped
but
through the crack.
but
But
because
again,
they had a whole
again,
group text thread, and it was going around the school 4 years ago.
yeah, but again, what I'm saying is 4 years back when this was going on. This is, government's here to protect you. Government's going to save you. But I think it was Franklin that had a quote about, what was it? Those who trade liberty, for security deserve and get neither. You know, I prefer dangerous liberty to, secure tyranny.
That's right.
Um, it's just absolute. I mean that shooting wouldn't have went on if we had real liberty in this country.
No,
Not for the amount of time frame it went on. No,
and he was in the school for an hour,
no, that wouldn't happen.
huh?
No,
An hour,
you
and they
don't,
want
you
and they
don't,
want
you don't have liberty, people. You really don't.
and they want to blame the gun. I could
Yeah,
have been in
no.
that school with a butter knife with those elementary school kids and
From what I've
slaughtered as many as I wanted.
from what I've seen so far, do you think that guy, even with an extended background check, would have passed it? Would he have gotten his gun?
Yeah,
Even with this news 2938 bill, where it's 3 days, up to a maximum of 10, I think he would have still passed his check, even if they looked in his juvenile records, and he'd still got his gun.
yeah.
Then what is it? Then what? So what happens when the next one happens and he didn't go far enough? Is it, again, that's why I tell people go research Overton window. They're keep pushing it. They're pushing it. And it's kind of interesting, but it is funny that they dropped that Supreme Court case Thursday and then they voted on the gun thing Friday. And it's like, all right, I can already hear the pens of Firearms Policy Coalition, and the computers clacking away with
But,
their lawsuits.
but because people don't understand, when that whole Roe versus Wade started going on again, me and you talked about it. I said, what are they distracting the people from? And here's one big thing. What are they distracting people from? This new Senate gun bill, right?
I keep getting pictures from the Babylon Bee. It was so funny. They said, oh gosh, said something along the lines of they stopped the January 6 hearings when Roe v. Wade was released so they could tell all the Democrats to go commit insurrection. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, but it's, I don't know, Spoon. It's getting comical at a point that, everyone needs to realize the power lies with you. It doesn't lie with the state. It doesn't lie with the government. I
The
mean,
people need to come to realize we need another revolution.
don't.
Yes, yes, we do.
You need I think there's a peaceful way to do it, and the peaceful way to do it is just paying for it. If you disagree to pay for it, then they don't have power. If everyone would just stop paying for this BS and say enough's enough,
Stop voting for the R and the D. Stop paying for it. I like my method.
Taxation
I like my method better, but okay.
There's nothing. They had it for a couple hours, Mr. Method Man, and now they're being tried for it.
They didn't have Jack.
Oh, I know they didn't.
Bunch of pansies.
Okay. Oh, lordy.
Listen, if it had been me and you and our group of cronies.
But the long game, if you're looking long game, if you paid zero taxes to this criminal enterprise, I mean, see, that was like Matthew LaRosier, when I watched him read the dissenting arguments on the New York State Rifle and Pistol Code v. Bruin, when he was reading the opinion and the arguments, he got really mad because the Supreme Court, even today, the Supreme Court said citizens. They used the term citizens. And he said, this is a trigger word for me. This makes me mad. Because when they're talking about the Second Amendment in the Constitution, he said, here's the Supreme Court writing an opinion saying the right of the citizens to keep and bear arms. He said, that's not how it's written. He said, it was written people. He said, people, not citizens. And that's the scam that they've been doing for almost 100 years on everyone. You can't have a gun unless you're a citizen now. You have to be a citizen of the state. You've got to agree to their. No, it's not what the Constitution says. It's the people. People.
I have these conversations with people all the time, and I tell them you're not free. You have to buy your rights back from the government.
It's we the people. It's the people. And again, even looking at it that way, like even the guy that had the woke pronoun Nazi that said constitutional carry, not permitless carry. Look, but technically, if you want to be that way, how about Bill of Rights carry? Because Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights. There's how many ways do you want me to make my argument that it's not constitutional carry? It's, permitless carry. It's 2A carry. It's keep and bear carry. It's Bill of Rights carry. Whatever you want to frame it as, it is what it is.
But just as you said, we the people. Yes, we the people. We have the power. But you can't get the people of this country to stick together on anything.
Stop paying for it. Civil disobedience. It's real simple.
It's going to take a majority for that to happen. And is that going to happen? No, it's not going to happen.
It should happen. It should be able to.
I think by 10% of the population going to DC.
There you go.
It's going to happen before your disobedience of paying the money.
They keep it up, yeah. I guess. Yeah. I mean,
well,
then what's going to happen? You want to talk about a tyrannical clampdown? Oh, they're coming.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. What I've made the comment with the Roe versus Wade. You got these Christian people who are saying, "Yo, yes, thank you, Jesus. We got our prayers answered." And on the other side, you got these people pissed off. Well, it's my body, my choice, right? How does anybody take a win or a loss in that situation, right? They
No,
they
nobody.
they
Nobody
let
won. Everyone
they
lost on Friday.
they left it up to the states, right?
Mhm.
So they
So
didn't they didn't they didn't
some states are going to go up, maybe even after birth. After birth, you
right.
know, like
So
Virginia was talking about that. You know that if a decision wasn't made and the child was born and the mother still was unsure, we could put it in another room and just make it comfortable while she decides. Which basically is saying we'll let it sit in the other room and die. You know, wither on the vine.
kids were moving to Virginia.
Oh, really? Oh,
You didn't say how old they had to be. They're out of the
well,
womb.
that's the Overton window. If it keeps getting shifted,
Uh,
eventually, you know, what is the argument? Well, if the baby can't survive without being inside of my body, then it's my choice. Okay. Well, technically, when the baby comes out of your body, if you don't care for it, it can't survive. If you cared for it for 2 months and then all of a sudden stopped, it can't survive.
no.
So
Okay.
moving the Overton window is part of the Democrat or I don't want to call it Democrat because I know not all Democrats are bad. It's the woke people. It's the woke,
Well,
pushing this
that's
new
what I'm
agenda.
getting at. On this decision came down Thursday, right?
Guns was Thursday and abortion was Friday.
I thought it was abortion Thursday, guns
No,
Friday.
no, no. Guns
All right,
Thursday,
all right,
abortion Friday.
all right. Roe versus Wade, they call it reversal, whatever. Friday. That's what I'm saying. There's not a win or a loss here. I don't see it because the Christian,
I
God
love
Almighty, God
I love to
Almighty
see
people.
woke tears. I love to see woke tears. I do. They
Uh,
cry so hard.
the Christian God Almighty people saying, "Oh yes, Jesus, hallelujah, He answered our prayers." How did He answer your prayers? It's
Why
still
did
up
it
to
take
the
him
state.
50 years to answer him? I mean,
But,
apparently
but,
Mike Callis could be mayor and just because something spoke to him.
but what I'm saying is, it's still left up to each state, which it should be in the first place, and not left up to the government. The government should be out of everything. And
No,
then
they
the
should
other,
be out of everything.
and
They
on the
should.
other side, they're pissed off, going, "It's my body, my choice, and I should have this right, that right." And I'm like, you kind of got to win here because if the government or the Supreme Court would have ruled we're going to make it legal for the whole country, that would have been a loss for you. This is kind of like a win for you because if you don't like what happens in Tennessee and Kentucky allows it and you want abortion, you cross the fucking state line,
Yep.
right?
Just all across it.
So I
I
want
mean,
somebody to explain to me how it's a win or loss for either side.
it's
It
not.
would be more. It would be more of a win for the people that want abortions than a loss. And
Well,
I
I
think it would
mean,
be more of a loss for the Christian people that want pro-choice or pro-life in every instance. It's more of a loss for them than a win, I would think.
no, it's pretty interesting. I will say it's interesting. Watching what's happening. But again, like I
But
said, people need to read your documents. Read them. Read that Constitution. Forward and
they don't
backward.
care. They don't care.
But that's if
They,
you
they'll
if you
read.
follow libertarians and what they're
What's that?
saying.
What's that book that the women like? They made a movie of it.
Which one? Oh my God! Oh.
Sorry. Where the man's beating up the woman sexually. What's that? 50 Shades of Grey. 50
Oh
Shades of
gosh,
Grey.
I haven't
Like the
seen it.
women, they'll read 14 novels of 50 Shades of Grey, but none of them, most of them can't tell you two
Small
lines
Constitution, little bitty small
of the Constitution.
Constitution. It's not, but it's not that. But it's more or less that's what gives that's what enshrines the power with the government. And the founders intended it to be very limited power at the government level, federal
Small
level,
government,
very
small
limited,
government,
very,
small
very
government.
limited. If they follow their limitations, it would. But if you look at what they've done, they've backed away from coining money. All right, so no longer do they coin and regulate money. They gave that over to the Federal Reserve. Then they
Good
say,
job.
"Oh,
Yay.
well, we've got these post roads over here. Well, let's give that to the transportation department. We ain't got time to make law on that." So I mean, if you look at almost every stage of power Congress has, they've given it to another agency.
Because
So
they're
then
too
they
busy. Stealing
Well,
our money, stripping our right.
interstate commerce and regulations. Well, we could regulate the stuff with guns, but we don't want our signature on it. So here, ATF, you make laws.
Yeah.
I mean, again, look at the powers that they had. They had a small amount of powers. Now they have an even smaller amount of powers, but you got yet dummies like AOC up there saying we need a raise. We don't make enough money. You've given away all your powers, you dumb kooky-eyed horse bitch. Listen, do something else. Get out of there.
y'all continue to print money. Your Republican president signed 2 stimulus packages that was not for the people. Y'all caused the inflation.
Here's your $1,200 hush money. While we give $25,000, to this business to sustain itself per employee.
Y'all are the whole reason why we're going through the inflation now. I hate to tell this to you people because I didn't vote for Biden either. Biden's not the reason for the inflation that we're going through right now. It's not.
That's true.
All right. It's the Federal Reserve. It's your Republican Trump president who signed the 2 stimulus packages.
It's
a combination of your Republican Democrats that are in office before and now. It's not Biden's fault. You can blame him all you want because he can't ride a bicycle and he can't speak a straight sentence. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But he's not the cause of the inflation and the problems we're going through right now. He's not. A year or two from now, then you can say something.
Let me see. I want to see what's the current number. Because I was telling Red this the other day, and I'm like, I said, one of the reasons I didn't trust Trump was, right before he went into office, right before he won, he started, he got that little catchphrase like in October or whatever, drain the swamp, drain the swamp, drain the swamp.
And what'd he do?
He was the swamp.
Hey!
But Trump had the power when he went into office to basically get rid and veto every executive order. Does he not? That's all it needs as a president to do is just veto an executive order.
But let me ask you, how many executive orders did he veto?
None. I'm sure he got rid of a couple, especially ones that they were against Trump Tower. You know what I mean?
But how many of them that were against the people did he get rid of?
I don't know.
Because if you had we all know Trump the man and Trump the president, if he had vetoed all these executive orders that were bad for the people, and he done something good for the people, everybody would have known about it, right? Because he wouldn't have shut up about it. He would talk about it for days and days and days, weeks.
It's the greatest executive order of all time.
Yeah.
But no, okay, right here, Executive Order 14075. So let's say Trump got in and he said, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to take all these executive orders. There's 14,075 executive orders. That's 14,075 paper cuts that you people don't have to endure. Vetoed. There's the swamp. You want to talk about a flush of the swamp? He didn't need Congress to do that. He didn't. Did he do it? No. And of course, he would have got backlash from everybody. Well, this one protected pigeons, and this one over here protected the oceans, and then this one over here protected the skin color of people. And they're gone.
And correct me if I'm not right here. Didn't he have control
this
of the
one
house?
Over? He could have easily said, "Well, this one over here says you're going to, you have to do this." So I've just got rid of that for you. Thank you.
Not only did he have the power to veto the executive orders, but for half of his term, did Republicans not hold the House and the Senate?
I think so. I do believe they held it a little bit, but I mean, that's not my point. More or less was, you got this wish-wash of power that just floats back and forth up there, and he could have given you 14,075 less paper cuts.
Look,
That would have been because you look what Biden did when Biden got into office. Any executive order Trump put in place, he undid it immediately. He vetoed every one of them. Every executive order Trump did put in was vetoed on Biden's first day. So,
but you're never going to change it because people are so brainwashed. They label themselves Republican or Democrat, right? I belong to no political party. Do you belong to a political party?
I
No.
vote for the Libertarians, but
We
I'm
both
not.
we
I'm
both
not.
voted.
I vote for them because they've got the best shot to win the presidency because they're on all the ballots. You know, there's Kanye West. Remember, he was only on like what was it, like 12 or 15 states. It was ridiculous. Yeah, he didn't have a shot in hell. He was just there to steal votes and be a problem.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I'm an American, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. People label themselves Republican or Democrat, and they fight over it, and they lose family and friends over it, right? They're so brainwashed by this, and those two have destroyed our country. And why I say you'll never change it is because they'll never stop voting that way, right?
They will, I think. I think this inflation. I hope this inflation issue is the start of it.
The 2020 election, how many votes were cast?
Hmm.
The most in history, right? Supposedly. 150 million?
I don't believe anything.
170 million?
We can't talk about the freest and fairest. Remember, Spoon?
Yeah. So the freest and fairest, most ever votes cast in the 2020 freest and fairest election.
I just
150 plus million were R and D, right? In the next election, it's going to be even more of the freest and fairest. It's going to set another record of the R and D. And what do? They continue to steal from you, take your money, abuse you, strip your rights.
Taxation theft.
And you sit up here and you fight and argue with your friends and your family and say the Republicans are the greatest and the other ones say the Democrats are the greatest. What? The
Supreme Court did more for the conservative-minded people in this country in 2 days than Trump did in 4 years.
That's right. The deacon where I go to church, I hadn't been to church in a while. I'm not going to lie. We had the discussion and he had to walk away because we started to get into heated discussion. But he was getting mad because he made the stupid comment that a Republican has never voted to kill a baby or to take away your guns. And I told him, have you ever looked up a bill to see how and who voted what? I said, if you're sitting there telling me that a Republican has never voted to kill a baby and never voted to take away your guns, you are very, very, one, stupid,
incompetent,
two, naive and brainwashed.
Very incompetent.
15 Republicans just jumped on board. Just jumped on the Democrats and voted to take away your guns. 15 of them.
Trump said, well, red flag laws are going to take your guns, then you go to court for your due process. That's what Trump did. He said that while he was president. And we got to get rid of these bum stocks.
And refuse my language.
Get rid of those bum stocks.
But the same motherfuckers that are taking your guns are walking around with armed security. How does that sit with you? Back
to the New York governor. I'm prepared to go back.
Your kids are in government indoctrinated schools that are getting shot up and murdered while your freaking police stand outside instead of going in.
Oh, if a governor's kid went to that school, that shooting.
But your politicians are walking around with armed security guards.
Yeah, armed security guards with fully automatic machine guns. Not
we sent $58 trillion, right, or $58 billion to Ukraine.
40. The last one was 44 billion.
All right. Anyway, the money we sent to Ukraine, you could put 5 SWAT members at every school in America to protect your children and still have money left over for the money you sent to Ukraine.
No, you didn't send it. You you're taxed and you're expected to reimburse the government
Yeah.
for sending.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, we can go at this all day.
I
I'm,
know.
I'm, I'm, I'm already pissed off. It's
Hold it till next week. Just
I,
you
I,
got it.
all I can tell you, American people, stop being stupid. Stand up for your rights. Band together. Research. Read the Constitution. Know your rights. And
You
stop.
like to be entertained. Get on HBO Max and watch the John Adams series.
Yes.
It'll teach you a lot, and it's entertaining. It's not.
Get off.
It can be a little slow. It starts out a little slow, and it's kind of like The Godfather. And what was it like? Within 10 minutes, you see the Boston Massacre happen. So yeah, it boom picks up. Boom, there you go.
So get off of TikTok and all that YouTube crap for an hour a day or something, and do a little research.
Look at your check and then see, oh, I got a raise. Oh my God, I paid more in taxes. There's the problem. Or there's your problem.
Well,
You got a raise, but the government collects more money. They don't have to care. They don't care about the price of milk and eggs. They could care less.
well, just like in the last
You
council
don't want
meeting,
the grocery store paying for it.
what was the amount that they released of the inflation? Was it 12%?
They haven't released that yet. It's still in the eights, the official, but they've skewed the numbers. They don't count it by the same metric.
Okay.
The
Anyway,
last time it was this high, 40 years ago, they counted. I think they took rent. I believe was one of the big ones. They used to count how much your rent and housing payment was if it was going up in inflation. They used to count that 40 years ago. They don't do that no more. So that skewed the numbers. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the same home you could rent 2 years ago for $800 a month.
I'm sure you wish you could go rent you an apartment for 1982 prices.
But I'm saying the same house you could rent 2 years ago for $800 is now going for $2,000. We're not going to count that as inflation. Okay. Well, anyway,
I believe that was one of the big metrics that they switched in their inflation calculation, because in the 1980s they counted rent as part of inflation and what the average cost of rent was.
Well, but yeah, that should be universal.
It's not. They don't count it now. That's why the metric is lower than it currently is, of course.
Well, anyway, we debated this inflation because what?
Well, the year over year, 2 years ago, if rent was $800, and then 1 year ago it was $1,000, and then this year it's $1,150, $1,200. That's a huge swing in your rent, and that would push that whatever number they're counting. It would push it way high.
Yeah, but me and you talked about this. That first number they released a couple months ago was like 8 something, right?
And then when they got into the 8s, they were like, "Ooh, we're running a little hot." Yeah, you're running a little hot because you're not even counting everything, asshole.
And me and you figured about 13 to 15% inflation.
Oh, it's probably 13 to 15 easy.
Yeah.
If you counted rent, if you count it by the old metric, most people say it's 15 easy. It's getting there.
Yeah. So in the last council meeting, when the mayor talked about the new budget, because we have a balanced budget and we have a surplus, not counting the $50 million we owe, but they was given a 4% increase in pay, right? And he said, well, that's kind of fair across the board. And I was thinking, if your inflation's like 15% and you're getting a 4% raise, yeah, it seems kind of fair to me too. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're still losing 11%. You're rare. But
sign me up.
Yeah. But that 4% is just gonna give Uncle Sam a bigger percentage that he can take out of your check for him. While you're struggling to buy milk and eggs. That's the problem. But I guess I'm about spent for today. Yeah.
Well, we'll see y'all next Sunday, probably Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll let you know what goes on with the city, and
we should have some kind of documentation next week.
Yeah. What are it may be just the documentation we filed against the city, but we'll have something.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll see y'all next week, everybody.
Everybody have a good Sunday.